Welcome back. Kevin's Mobile Repair. Got a 2007 Jeep Grand Cherokee with a 5.7 Hemi motor in it. We're doing a water pump. I've already got the water pump out, so I'm going to show you a couple little tips and tricks. When you take the water pump off, there are bolts that are different sizes. So I have the new water pump. I set it up here. As I take a bolt out, I put it in the corresponding bolt hole and such like that. So that's one good little trick. Second one is casting material, not exactly perfect all the time. So I always put a little bit of RTV on the inside and outside of the gasket and stuff. Because I've already done this water pump one time before. Customer provided his own parts. This was done about 2 years ago. It only lasted that long. And then started leaking right out the corner right here. So seal failed. Now I have my part, do it my way, and he won't have to worry about it for probably the remainder of the life of the vehicle. But anyways, so according to the service manual, you have to take out this radiator fan assembly in order to get this water pump out. But you do not. Do a couple little items and stuff like that and get around it. First of all, air filter housing comes off. The air flow dam, whatever you want to call it, inlet housing, that's going to come off. There is a bracket right here that will come off. Take off your tensioner, take off your idler pulley. Idler pulley goes here, tensioner goes right here, so that way you can just gain access to these bolts right here without that pulling and stuff being in the way. 10mm right here for this inlet hose. Lift the hose up out of the way, but be careful of this sensor right here. You don't want to lift it up too high and break it off. But as you take the pump out, pry this up, and then the pump will come out this way and out, so that way you don't have to lift that pull or that tube up too high in order to break it or anything. All the bolts here are all 13s except for the bracket that goes up here and the tensioner, which they're going to be 15s. So take this assembly out, take the belt off, take those items off. You can loosen up all the bolts here, take off your lower radiator hose. I'm also replacing the hoses on these for the customer, but that's not really part of this. Once you take the bolts off and stuff like that, there's a bracket right here, a little plastic sheathing, one of these little puppies. Just take that off, disconnect it from the two AC lines right here, pull it out of the way a little bit. Once you undo the pump and get everything undone from the bottom, and it will just come out this way. So you do not have to take out this fan assembly, drain the power steering fluid, none of that kind of mess. But if you absolutely needed to, you could. I wouldn't disconnect them from the fan. I would disconnect the hose right here and the main line right there on the side of the pump. You just take the whole pump and assembly and lines out of the way, so that way this makes it easier to come out as one unit, because those connectors down at the bottom are rather fun to get to, tight space, all that, whatever makes it easier, right? So like I said, put a little bit of RTV on here, clear up any kind of imperfections in the casting of either the pump or the block. That way it seals it up, doesn't have any issue. Standard black RTV works. I like to use the Chrysler stuff, but currently I didn't have any. I thought I had some, but I don't. But that stuff will work just the same. Also, thermostat has to come off, so I replaced the thermostat when I do it, because the new pump does not have a O-ring that goes right here for the thermostat, so that's a nice little source of a leak. So I just replaced the thermostats and stuff whenever I do these type of water pumps, because the new thermostat will usually come with a new seal and less hassle. Also, this kit was actually a good one. Some of these kits do not come with this little O-ring right here for this tube. Now, if you have to use some of this RTV, put some around the O-ring right here, so as it goes back into the slot, wherever it's at, somewhere up here, as it goes back in there, that is not a source of a leak as well. So a couple little tips and stuff like that for when this is done. Other than that, this is altogether probably about an hour and a half job. Not too much of a problem. I got a cool little funnel thing right here that once I get everything in there as far as the coolant, let all the bubbles burp out, and it will make that part a whole lot easier. But any questions or comments, feel free to let me know.